So, we're back. After all these months, I have returned to make this next review. So this bus is a bus that I'm pretty sure we all know and we all love to this day because it made a huge impact on New York City Transit in a huge monster way. As the first articulated bus order of New York City Transit, without further ado, this is a review of the 1996-98 New Flyer D60HF.
These are the 1996-98 New Flyer D60HFs, the first New Flyer D60HFs, and the very first successful articulated bus order of New York City Transit. Now their fleet numbers range from 10,000 to 1109, with 10,000 to 10,001 being 1996 prototypes, 1,009 to 1069 being 1997 units, and 1070 to 1109 being 1998 units. Now, without further ado, here's a list of depots that received New York City Transit's first D60HFs. Here we go. So these D60s were originally delivered to Kingsbridge Depot, which was the first depot to have these buses, and the very first depot ever in New York City Transit history to have articulated buses, while 1003 to 1005, along with 1007 to 1029, along with 1030 to 1039, were later sent to Gun Hill Depot, leaving 1002, 1006, 1029, along with 1040 to 1109 at Kingsbridge Depot, and by 2000, 1035, along with 1041 to 1044, along with 1046 to 1047, as well as 1049 to 1067, as well as 1069 to 1109, were left at Kingsbridge Depot, while 1000 to 1034, along with 1036 to 1040, along with 1045 to 1048, as well as 1068, were all sent to Michael J. Quill Depot in Manhattan. Now the reason why I say these were the first successful articulated buses of New York City Transit is because in the 70s and 80s, articulated buses were demonstrated, but unfortunately they all floundered. Now everybody fasten your seatbelts, because it's time for a history trip. It all started when they tested out an early MAN articulated bus in the mid to late 70s, but unfortunately it floundered. Then they gave it another go by testing a 1984 MAN SG-310-16.5-2A. Damn, that's a lot of numbers. But it also floundered, and it ended up going to Westchester County, otherwise known as the B-Line system, which was proven to be successful as the MANs later became B-Line's first successful fleet of articulated buses. Anyway, moving on a few years later, they then tested out two Neoplan Transliner AN460As, numbered as 8994 and 81992. But unfortunately, both of them bombed. So they put it aside and waited. Then they turned a New Flyer in late 1996, and the result was So this particular order of D60HFs was pretty interesting, as they were the first successful articulated buses ever ordered by New York City Transit. These D60HFs helped diversify New York City Transit's bus fleet in a monster way, and helped reduce overcrowding on congested routes throughout the Bronx and Manhattan, and were chock full of new and noticeable features, such as Alcoa rims, newer Illuminator Megamax flip-dot destination signs, and were also the first to feature roof AC units, as seen on this photo of 1079. And these D60HFs signify the use of the Detroit Diesel Series 50 engine, which sounds like this. No, I'm not alone in this review. Here are a few words from my good friend and fellow transit fan, the Yasha Pro. Take it away.
Here are my thoughts of the 1996 to 1998 New Flyer D60HF. They were the very first full-fledged Arctic fleet, but we had Arctics before, but they ran under pilots. And the pilots were the 1983 Manbus SG310. That didn't last long because it went to WBL, otherwise known as Westchester B Line, number 661. And we also had the 1984, 1985 Neoplan and 440. That didn't last long either. I don't know what happened after that. So it took them 11 to 13 years to get a full Arctic fleet. And that bus I'm talking about are the 1996, 1998 New Flyer D60HF. There were 112 buses in the order, and they were numbered 1000 to 1111. Although 1110 and 1111 has been renumbered to 5250 and 5251 respectively due to the next order of the D60HFs. So about the 1996 to 1998 D60HFs, those were the shit. Come on, so yeah. The whole design of the bus, the sexy Alcoa rims, the interior design, and of course, the very basic Detroit Diesel 50 engine with the Allison B400R transmission. I had a lot of memories with those buses. And I remembered all of them going to the Kingsbridge Depot, brand new. My first reaction when I was like 6 or 7, I saw 1002 on the BX1. I was like, holy shit, that bus is awesome. But although I do see them a lot on the BX1, BX2, and the BX55, brand new. I had a lot of fun memories riding them a lot. Until they retired in 2011. I caught them like no tomorrow until they were fully retired at that time. So as we all say it has been gone, but not forgotten, and it will be remembered as MTA's very first full-fledged Arctic fleet.
Now I have a lot of memories of these D60s. I still remember seeing one for the first time when I was 2-3 years old, and my jaw completely dropped. I remember I was like, "Holy shit!" I thought it was the most unique bus I ever saw and heard. That was until I saw the Orion 7C&Gs for the first time. So through the years, these were later scattered to various depots throughout Manhattan and the Bronx. I remember my dad nicknaming them the Flex buses or the accordion buses, though most transit and non-transit fans still refer to them as that to this very day. Now as for the D60HFs themselves, in my opinion, they were okay, even though of course you had some nitpicks from various drivers and passengers, but hey, what can you do? This was just the very first batch, so you know there was more room for improvements. The only thing I can't stand is that ear-piercing, nerve-wracking, teeth-grinding fan belt screech. Oh man! That always gets on my nerves. But then again, that's just me nitpicking. As you can see, some of these were later given the white bag paint scheme, which I and most bus fans dislike. Though on the other hand, it does look nice when it's clean, while some remained in the original black back scheme. It is very sad to say that these D60HFs are now retired and were replaced by the 2010 to 2012 Novabus LFSAs, though honestly I think they should have stayed a little bit longer than they did. But what's done is done. But luckily, 1004 is pending for preservation as a museum bus as 1000. And with my fingers crossed, I beg in this review for them to preserve it, because these D60s were a huge milestone for New York City Transit and deserves preservation for that reason. So as for these D60HFs, they're gone, but definitely not forgotten, as we still have the younger sisters still plying the streets of New York City to this very day. And will always be remembered as New York City Transit's first New Flyer D60HFs and first successful articulated bus orders of New York City Transit. So with that said, this is Kal-El, and thanks for watching.